So what are you going to tell us, Billy?
Oh, nothing. I was going to say, before we got started, though,
What's your strategy?
well, yeah, I went to the liquor store to get your bottle, and I saw this. It was Bowman Brothers. I said, well, hot damn. I said, big night like tonight coming up here and hanging out. I said, got to be a special night. Let's get it. And on the back, it told a story of Isaac Bowman and his brother. I said, these people related to Amos? I said, bound to be somewhere down the daggone line. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't the ones right next door. They started distilling liquor. I mean, we are the number one podcast in the German Baptist community, so it was only proper that I did buy that bottle and bring it up here. Bowman's Brothers.
I've had it's good. It's good bourbon.
Yeah, it surely is.
It's packaged well, I'll say that much.
They very well could have been German Baptists. John, Abraham, Joseph, and Isaac.
Sounds like
well, if they weren't, y'all definitely have the same names as they did. So, yeah, I figured tonight would be a good night to toast it up. I mean, shit, been going on 3 years doing this. I guess close to 2, over 3 years for me doing it. Close to 2 doing it with Simon. Amos has been on and off since the beginning. I guess tonight will start the countdown to, I guess, to the end. I've been talking with Tara a bunch, and I guess we're going to start the countdown of the end of the Appalachian Podcast, as we all know it.
Useless. Fuck off, Billy. You're dumb and shit.
Is it April 1st?
Huh?
Do what?
You're recording, aren't you?
No, I'm telling you something before we start recording.
Okay, tell us.
I just got done telling you. I said,
So we're on the countdown.
we're on the countdown.
Oh, wow.
It's coming to an end.
How long you got?
I don't know. How long's
How long's a piece of string?
my baby? 4 weeks, 5 weeks or something.
For real? I mean, you're being for real?
Yes.
No, you're not.
As I stated.
Now, hang on.
The
When's your due date?
Podcast,
Due date is...
September 21st.
Okay. So imminent, 2 weeks early. I'd say 2 weeks early is probably to be expected.
Possible.
Okay.
It's got about 3 weeks.
But you're beyond that threshold of preemie. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing. That's great news.
Yeah. I've been, we've just been talking with her a bunch, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
The third kid coming and everything and all that kind of stuff. So sometime after the first baby comes will probably be the end of all this. And anyway, we can talk about that. Yeah. Well,
I got a story about that, and it's a good one.
Going off that, I'll say, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
You
Of
bastard.
course he was.
All right.
You are recording. I just fell for it again. At least I didn't drop myself in it,
For about
right?
9.5 minutes now, but we'll probably cut
Good
a little
Lord. He's
bit.
a dead face.
Man.
We are
You
back
got to watch him.
up here in the Big Lick Roofing Mountain Studios officially.
Ooh.
That's
This sounds like an announcement, Billy.
I think so. This is the Appalachian Podcast. We are brought to you, of course, by Life Technology, who will get a talk in here with our co-host, Simon. Simon, welcome back. I guess, to start the show off, we can, say,
You can't say welcome back when we're in his cabin.
well, yeah, we'll just do introductions all around. Of course, we're back up here with our redcoat friend whose country is currently threatening to come and prison us for our views online.
I'd love to see how that
Just
works
social
out.
media.
I'd love to see how that works out.
Bullshit.
It's been fun.
Awesome.
Obviously, we
Idiots.
got our buddy Chip Slate, being libertarian background. Chip's been, since we were talking about this at Boland's earlier, where we do our pre-show meeting usually, since the Students for Liberty conference we went to, I think was like a second level blow off for us. Like we had Spike last year, and when we met Spike, we met you, and that all came together. And then we all went and did the thing at Students for Liberty back in the February. And since then, between that and then the Libertarian National Convention, the Party National Convention, it has just been wild, right? The views, the people who've started interacting with us, being in those places and getting those pictures and being seen with Vivek.
It's been a wild ride. We've gone from just showing up to events like that to now signing on to legislation. With the folks out in Montana, which has been cool for Defend the Guard bill. If you haven't heard that, we've been trying to push that so the National Guard doesn't actually get sent outside of the United States, which is crazy that happens.
Well, the National Guard is the state militia. That is what they are.
But the military has always used them as
yes, they have, and there's
busboys.
Well, there's an abuse of power and the carrot and stick.
You don't say
that the federal government has taken over the funding and the command structure. So, to me, and that's the 1903 Dick Act, and that's what got that ball rolling, right? So they are still the state militia. Whether you like that word or not, that's what they are. The National Guard is the state militia. Unfortunately, with their interactions with federal government, that kind of diminishes their constitutional obligation, in my mind, because the militia was designed, for basically state independence from, federal overreach. And at the end of the day, if you read the Second Amendment to its entirety, you'll understand exactly what that was about. So the 1903 Dick Act actually circumvented, in my mind, the Constitution in how the state militia is supposed to run. But that's another matter entirely. Boom, boom.
It's just hard to forget a Dick Act, damn it.
Well, and he knows his militias.
It's been a wild ride. We were talking today about what the future may hold for us and all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, you've just seen it online, seen all the pages kind of burst onto the scene. And so been kind of a crazy week again, obviously, with...
It's been wild.
Didn't Elon Musk share one of your memes uncredited to you though?
Today he did. Yeah, that he's shared a few that he's put out himself that had our watermark on it. But today another Wall Street Silver, I think, is the account. They posted it, and it was about paper ballots. He said that we ought to have all paper ballots.
Oh, absolutely.
They're having issues with these machines that they're not going to have time to fix them by November. It just aren't these convenient excuses, these ones that are just getting rolled out. But anyway, it has been crazy. It's been the folks that follow us now, from professional athletes' wives. I don't know why that is a category, but it is. We have
probably because professional athletes don't want to be seen following that account because people come after them, and it kills. I mean, honestly, that's how things work. It kills them.
And I won't name any.
Or their wives just think you're cool.
Well, that too, I'll take it. Or they're at home bored, right?
Yeah.
They need something to do.
They
got that Instagram
account.
Hot. But they've got a big Instagram account. I'll follow it back. So that's a carrot out there for those folks.
So what sort of numbers are we looking at? Because this is a massive reach. And you are judged by these numbers.
Oh, well,
it's all statistically based.
When
right?
we were in D.C. walking around, and we're up at Chip's,
By the way, Amos didn't, everybody, in case you didn't know. He's the fourth guy we're here, and the reason we are the number one podcast in the German Baptist community. So anyway, continue on.
Here we are, Cornwallis and Abe Lincoln. Oh, y'all are, just being, the excitement of people, the swag and stuff that Chip had on the table. I didn't even know what that shit was.
No.
I am.
I did a minimal research, I must say. So I was.
Oh yeah, I was terrible.
I was kind of fraudulent there.
You could probably actually back up a bit from the mic. Yours is coming in really hot. You're
dial the bastard down. Dial the bastard down.
Well, yeah, that's what I was talking to Chip at Boland's about earlier. I said, man, you know what? I said, next year we got a handful of other ones we can start hitting up and figuring things out because,
Well, and to what you were saying on the numbers, we what got us started, we had a Facebook page, and that was our bread and butter, but it was 963,000 followers, almost 1 million, and then Facebook took us out. Mark took us out. We got zucked. We finally got zucked. And, we'd survived so many times and, most people would have probably quit then, but we just sort of diversified. We went everywhere, and Twitter, Instagram. I think Instagram now we've got about 272,000, I think. And then Twitter.
Very respectable.
Twitter's about 220,000. So we're getting our numbers back up. But more than that, it's the people that follow us and interact with us. These, members of all the campaigns are involved on our page and interacting with the page and sending us information. Thank you.
And people we are going to have a legitimate opportunity to reach out to and say, hey, you know what? You can go on any of these random shitty podcasts, or you can come up here to the cabin and get on a show and get your message out, and it's going to be a cool hangout.
That's right. And we'll package it appropriately.
Yeah. And we'll, we talked about that at Boland's too. A lot of the things we can do, a lot of the things we can offer. Hey, come hang out for 3 or 4 days, just like Spike did. Eat at our restaurants, maybe go hiking, let Amos take you floating down the river, ride 4-wheelers, go hunting, whatever you want to do. Come have a little mini vacation, come get on a show or two. Maybe you're an artist or a musician and, you want to you're playing at the Harvester. Well, hey, come in for a few days and come on our show, do a live show somewhere downtown. Now we're bringing people to Rocky Mountain on Saturday.
It's not just the
After you go
Harvester,
floating
the Alley Cat.
Yeah,
That's right.
wherever.
it's all going.
Afterwards,
It's going off, man.
you're floating the river on Saturday. Then you come up here to the cabin. We have a cookout and we have you on the show up here. Video and all. And and this is an aesthetically pleasing atmosphere for a studio.
And just like Spike, I mean, he had so much fun.
He loved it.
He did.
Yeah, and imagine,
Still
you
talks
get him
about
up here too, and now we got the video aspect of it. We've got clips that he can share.
We do?
Huh?
We do.
We're going to.
He's holding back. I mean, he's teasing us.
What am I holding back on? What
Do
do
I
y'all
need
wanna
to
know?
get-
What do
do
you
I-
want to know? Please,
Listen.
just ask your questions because what did I tell you on the way up the road, Chip? What did I tell you?
They're wound up.
They're wound up and
Yeah.
they're bothering the piss. I said, Amos has done called me.
Yeah.
I
twice.
almost called Chip.
He called me twice in 5 minutes.
I do have jumper cables at hand and a
Uh-oh.
deep cycle battery. Now, I'm creative. I can tell you that much.
Well, you don't have to be. I mean, you need to save that for the redcoats coming up here trying to arrest you for calling out the UK government. You don't need to
Oh, that won't be happening. Good
use
luck with
those
that.
on me.
So, talk us through this this deal with Big Lick, Billy. Really, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Well, I mean, I just figured he was up here last week, and I thought he was coming up here tonight, so I figured we'd just give him a shout out.
Okay. I'm just intrigued. Are you going to wait for Dakota to arrive before you blast this wonderful news?
What news?
You're going to get.
I mean, look, I just need you. I'm not waiting on anybody. I just need y'all to ask me a question. What do you want to know? I mean, you're talking about hooking my nipples up to jumper cables. I'm sitting there.
No, I wasn't talking about nipples,
Well,
mate.
good Lord, we can start there. At
There's
least.
two of them.
We can start there.
There's
at
two of
least.
them, but that's where
I'm
I
just
was
saying,
going.
ask whatever.
You just said that me and you talked on the phone in 2 conversations in 5 minutes.
He's so evasive, isn't he?
Mm.
Evasive is the word.
I don't call anybody 2 times in 5 minutes unless I need or feel like I want some information.
We can get information. We have means. And by the way, it isn't waterboarding if you use diesel.
All I'm saying
Just
is
saying.
y'all are more than welcome just to ask me some damn questions.
Well, you're so evasive. Look, now he gets up and walks away. Oh, I've seen this strategy before.
I don't really know what strategy you're talking about, but I have no doubt you've seen it or at least have some thought process of what you think you see because you most likely are MI6. So
Huh.
you've been around the globe a couple of times and, you've seen a thing or two. You're like a 3rd grade teacher.
Yeah, he's pouring the Bowmans, y'all. For those that can't see
Yeah,
him,
that's
he's over there
it.
pouring the Bowmans.
And a hefty pour, too, I may add.
Yeah,
Good Lord.
He's trying to feel a little bit German Baptist.
Oh, dear.
He's trying to
keep
act
my
like there's
blood
nothing.
deep. I mean, William Angle was a German Baptist pastor, one of the founders of Franklin County. Even the Angles were big. They just all spurted out. So I'm an Angle, and I was kind of married back into it and then forced back into it being Amos's buddy. Kind of
So, Billy, just explain the deal.
what deal?
The deal on cameras and so forth. We're going into the 21st century and video, right? This is what we're talking about. Oh, look, and he turns his back to me. You evasive git.
He's just staying
Dude, I'm
away.
feeling more sorry for Tara every minute right now.
I tell you, she's getting my vote.
Because if this is the way if this
You
way
imagine?
conversation, it's unimaginable.
Mm.
This
How
is
that has to go.
absolutely how conversations go with my wife, just to let you know.
You know, he's avoiding eye contact.
I can get
turning
my
his
wife,
back to
whatever
us.
she's saying to me, I can probably hold on for about a quarter of the time. And then after that, so if it's 5 minutes, she's got about a minute and a half of my time. So you might want to just get it on down. It's not her fault. It's just,
Jumper
Well,
cables.
this is not me, Tara. I'm
Jumper
I'm not
cables.
part of this conversation.
if she actually listened to the show,
I mean, she has a minute and a half of his time. And he's got 3 kids. I mean, I'm starting to feel more and more sorry for
2,
her.
not 3 yet.
Yeah, it's soon come.
It's
Not
here.
3 yet.
So come on then, spill the beans, Billy.
I mean,
Well, I'm just, as I stated earlier, the show as we know it is coming to an end. We're going to have to find new and creative ways. We're going to have to get a little bit more serious with things, and we're going to have to start, planning things out just to some degree because, yes,
Pre-show meeting. Oh, I get this.
That went well.
Yeah.
That went well.
we might even need some makeup for some of you ugly bastards. So,
my daughter does a good
Case,
job.
case in point, Billy.
Perfect. I got my makeup done yesterday.
Yeah, those toes.
No. Oh, I
Oh,
had
dear.
full sparkles on the
Oh,
cheeks
no.
and blush and
My daughters thought it was a great idea, right? When I packed my offshore bag, and I've got
Like you makeup.
no, unbelievable. So I'm got my gear and I'm on the boat or on the rig or wherever it was, and I'm unpacking my gear and I'm changing in the changing room before we go on deck. There's the hard hat, and I grab it, throw it on my head. I've got my overalls on, all the bullshit. I'm about to go out on the deck and take care of business. Boom! I get showered in sparklies,
Glitter. In your hard hat?
in my hard hat, everywhere, right in front of
Wow.
the whole damn crew. And I couldn't get rid of this shit. This shit was a pit. And I was on that boat, I think, for 5 or 6 weeks. I always had glitter on me at some point in time.
Tell
Every
me you're
damn
not
day.
proud to be a girl's daddy.
Oh, it made me laugh. The guys were howling. It was, and I'm sure Heather was behind it, but nonetheless, it was a great coup.
So no glitter bombs. We got to get serious now, you're saying.
All I'm saying is, as Dakota and I have spoke, we had a conversation yesterday, talking about 15 or 20 minutes about a couple of things. There's another big thing I'm hoping to talk about. We got to fly our friend in from Mexico and sit down with some people. But, aside from that, we haven't made any kind of specific arrangements, but he's agreed to sit there and at minimum pay for all of our cameras to get that stuff up and running.
That is
get all of our new equipment and all that kind of stuff. And we'll see what else we can get going and what else we might be able to strike up. And obviously we'll figure out, one way, shape, or form to work him in. But, what I did tell him, I said, I don't necessarily want you to look at this as a sponsorship, more of an investment. You're investing and you're investing in something that is kind of bigger than just a thing. This is a movement of people that are, trying to look out for the best for our region, and you're going to be the person that we point them to. And I have no doubt, with Chip's connections, with Spike's connections, with the people we have out there in social media, once these clips start coming through, I'm telling you, people are going to be dying when they see the aesthetics of this cabin to want to come up here and do a show. They're like, who in the hell? It's like that cool thing. Like, we have something that almost nobody else has now, and somebody else can go do it. Somebody with a lot of money can go, Tucker can go up there and do it at his cabin up in Maine or whatever like that. But it's not quite the same because we came from fuck off. You know what I mean? We started from the bottom. We had absolutely nothing.
We never left, really.
And now
still there. Damn it.
Now you come up here and you can come up here to a cool spot from a bunch of guys who didn't buy their way into it. They just organically made it happen. And that's what makes us cool and unique and different. So once the cameras start coming in and the clips start going out and Drew starts putting them things together, and I'll have that nice little Big Lick Roofing logo at the bottom spinning around in circles. And we have Spike on here and all his people share it, and whatever other guests we have and their people share it. And then Chip is always sharing it. And hopefully if he gets the app up and going from being libertarian and those few 100,000 people go download that app to get the memes, right there in the corner is going to be a little spot to watch the Appalachian podcast, associated with being libertarian. We talked about it at Bowling Night. There's no reason to believe that between us, Appalachian media, and being libertarian media and what we can do and what we can offer, there's no reason in 5 years we can't be a force to reckon with as a media company.
I would go less than that.
To make a difference.
I'd
to
go
make
less
a
than that.
massive difference. I'm not saying we'll be the Daily Wire or anything, but we could probably make all enough money to say fuck off with our day jobs and be able to put all our time and effort into promoting Appalachia and to getting out there and bringing people together and getting these farms up and, fighting, anything we can do. I'm just saying, I don't want a beachside condo anywhere. All I want to do is make enough money to not have to have my day job and focus all my attention on getting this Appalachian message out there.
Well, and improving our community.
Yes.
And that's a huge deal.
Goes
and we're
right
doing
into
it.
with Dakota's business
Exactly.
model.
So fits.
Do it right. I want to be here forever. Treat people right, and
be ethical, have integrity.
Yeah.
All these things, which is what's been missing in my mind, the collapse of society now is integrity and, just doing it right.
If you come from humble and with, his reasons and convictions, that's what's lacking in a lot of business.
And let me tell you what, that kid is sharp. I hate to call him a kid. He's just so much younger than me. He is sharp. And, I've been doing this thing for 3 years now. And from the guests I've had, I honestly could have put together whatever package I wanted to. Bobby Labonte, Grammy Award winners, CMA nominated people, like all the photos out there, Henry Law, Moonshiners. I could have put together a phenomenal portfolio and went up to a lot of people and got sponsorships. And that might have been $25, $50 here and there for every single show mentioning, but I don't want to bog it down with a bunch of, sponsor talk and stuff. I wanted somebody to come around that fit our mold, somebody that kind of had our ideals, somebody that wanted to more invest in us than sponsor us. And I think Dakota is perfect for that because he's very ambitious. He's young, and he is the kind of person that the younger generation needs to aspire to be. Like, he's somebody they need to look towards and say, hey, let's try and figure it out and do it his way, because he's doing something right.
Well, I mean, he's a revolutionary in as much as he's looking to do the cutting edge of the business he's specializing in. The guy's a visionary. As simple as that.
It all backs up to critical thinking.
Oh, of course.
Dakota thinks. He analyzes everything, and that's what's lacking being taught in the public schools. They don't teach you to do that.
Well, and I think Dakota also, he's like us. I think he understands the layman. He understands the same issues that person has, and he's able to.
Yeah, because that's where he came. I mean, that's who he was.
But he's solving problems as well. These are problems, and he's solving them. And that's always been one of the big things, particularly when I was offshore. You would be presented problems normally generated from an engineer's cock up that we would have to fix. Now, how you would approach the problem if you were a critical thinker would be, here's the problem, here's one or two solutions. The majority of people stop and
here's the problem
and say, here's the problem,
and then
bitch about it and not offer a solution. And it stops there. And that's probably 90% of folks out there. Now, the gifted few will come up and say, look, we know we got a problem. We've identified the problem. I've also given you at least two options of a solution. It's that next step is what's missing across society.
And like I told him too, I said, whatever we work out, however we do it, however long, I said, I personally think and believe that once we get the cameras in here, this is going to take off massively. And I said, no matter what happens moving forward, you are the guy that put us in that position. So no matter what happens, no matter what is thrown to us in the future, however it works, we bring you with us everywhere we go. You were the first person, so, and I told him, I said, every time we have a big guest up here, you're invited to come up here and hang out, network with them, talk with them. Because if we bring in 50 people a year to come in this studio and maybe 5 of them, just a small percentage decide, I would love to have a place here. I'd love to have a little farm up here, a little getaway or something. And you know what? I'd love to have a solar roof so I could kind of be off, you know what I mean? Like those kind of people we're going to have here. Boom, he's got 5 extra jobs a year.
Well, it ain't even just solar roof. I mean, that's the cutting edge, but I mean, he does standing seam, shingles,
absolutely.
But he's not going to come in there and, hey, if you're looking for the cheapest price, bottom dollar,
you'll end up in my situation. How many years ago?
Yep.
I mean, he's going back in there with a trailer that lifts up to the gutters and the wings fold out. When they shovel the shingles off, they all go in the trailer and it drives itself around the house. I mean, when he leaves, you don't know he was there. Now, obviously you can get them cheaper, but I mean,
well, we've got to learn as a society that cheap is not the way to do it, because that's what's got us in the problem that we're in with our addiction to sugar, cheap food. Every product that we have is dollar driven, and we've unfortunately been driven down the cheap food route, and you apply that across everything else.
Well, the big box stores. Forced us there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I've been paying attention for a while now, ever since I started the show, when I really started focusing, on everything that's local and what's going on local and what matters and what counts. And, I drive up and down the road and I'd see those big lick billboards and stuff, but I'd also go up to the wood shop and see all that. I'm like, started asking Amos questions and, went on for a while and then kept kind of watching him and spoke with him a couple of times. That's the kind of guy I want to get on the show, tell your story. He finally made it happen, finally made it work. He came up here, we got on the show, and it was a phenomenal show. He said a ton of people started hitting him up afterwards saying he heard from it. And You know, and I told Amos right after that, I said, man, that's a kid we need to work with. We need to get involved here because he's ambitious, he's smart, and
he cares about
he's
the region.
innovative, and he cares about perfection. He cares about doing it right. That's why we work together so well.
Which in that industry is a rare commodity, I may add.
And takes care of his guys.
Yes.
But him as a person, no less, is why I said he would fit good in the mix of our, you know what I mean? Like, we've been doing this for a couple of years now, and, you know, and Chip has fit in very nicely. I think Brandon, our buddy up there, Smokey's fit in very nicely when he can make it down off the mountain. Congratulations to him with his new one. It's kind of tough, I know, but, you know, got a much better relationship with the town of Rocky Mount doing this. We've got
we do actually.
You know what I mean? We
got a great relationship.
Yes,
there. And on that note, we do have the Franklin County Recreation Park doing their ag fair.
Yeah.
Now between the 14th and the 17th. So get out there, guys. I mean, this is a huge deal for Franklin County. It's a big deal. Holland's been promoting it big time. And I think this is one of the local things that we need to all support. You know,
it's really fun. I take my kids every year. I take my down at the rec park, whatever. There's a few fun rides. You know, they're put together by people that don't look quite like meth heads, like the Salem Fair. So, you know, you go in there and they have their fun. You know, you get your corn dog or whatever. And I think maybe next year, once, you know, we know this is kid number 3 is here, whatever. We need to start setting up at these festivals. We need to set up at this. We need to have our tents. We need to be doing live shows there on the spot, talking to local people. But it's been difficult this year with everything going on. That's, you know, that's kind of why we've been taking it easy. That's why we really hadn't had as many guests as we normally do. You know, it's a little bit easier to come up here and maybe talk about current events and kind of build our repertoire with each other in anticipation of this big movement coming. You know, in anticipation of this moment, I want Simon and Amos and Stuart and Chip, all of us going together, you know, for when we do turn it over to video, we got something good, you know, rocking and rolling. It's not just me and Amos anymore, you know, or me and Simon anymore. It's me, Simon, Chip, Amos, you know, Stuart to a great extent. We're going to have to probably have Kevin Tosh in here doing a lot of help with production. We're going to have Drew helping out quite a bit. You know, they're taking a big next leap, a big next step. And, you know, like I said, that Dakota fits in that bunch of somebody I want to work with, and somebody that seems like, you know, he is multi-layered like Amos. Yes, he does the roofing, but he also does the DJing. Well, yes, Amos does the building. He also does the farming. Now, Dakota, you know, and I told him, I said, you know, obviously, you know, you help us out here. We're giving you your own show once a year, but come up here whenever you want to and hang out. If we got a spot on the mic, jump on here, because he's got a smart brain. He really adds to the conversation, and actually having him sit down with some of these big guests will be kind of interesting to watch them pick each other's brain.
Can you define smart brain?
Well, I think actually his intellect will baffle a lot of people holding a PhD.
He came up here the first show. We paused the show. Me and Chip's outside, and I looked at Chip. I said, "How old do you think that boy is?" He said, "A whole lot older than his age."
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it holds.
He's dude sharp, and dude, it's been. I mean, I have absolutely loved watching that boy go from 18 years old to mid-20s, wherever he's at now. It's just been awesome.
Yeah.
Well, with everything coming down the pipe, now would be a phenomenal time for each and every one of you to go to patreon.com/GetOnTap and become a subscriber, because it's only $3 a month.
It's a dime a day.
And a dime a day, less than a cup of coffee. You can give more, obviously you want to, and coming up here in the near future, when everything starts popping off, I'll probably start having tiers, and it'll go up to a little bit more.
We'll grandfather you in. If you get in now.
Yeah, when you get in now, you're going to be grandfathered in. Like, you've got a couple of months to do it.
That's
we'll let you
marketing
get in there, once the tiers start coming, you know, I'm going to let, you know, anybody who's been, and I know there's people that's been there in the beginning, like Brad Kennett.
Yes.
Caleb
Longwork's been there from the beginning. Caleb Flora, Blake Holcomb Metalworks, been there from the beginning. Carter Chitwood's a big support. He's been there. And there's a ton of you out there. Thank y'all so much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nick's been a huge, massive supporter. You know, just $3 a month. There's a ton of you out there. I can't mention you all, but I do see you, and I thank you, you know, for all that you do. You can always give more, $5, $10, whatever, because tiers will be coming soon. And the higher the tier, we'll be able to come up here and hang out at the cabin and watch a show, because we're going to have a few couches around here and a couple subscribers, you know, will be able to enter themselves into sweepstakes for each show, depending on, you might be a racing guest. It might be an author, a musician. It might be a political person. That's what you want.
It
You
just might be
throw your name in the hat. Yes.
You know what we need to put on that Patreon? Firing the Cannon.
Oh, indeed we do.
What's that?
Put Firing the Cannon on the Patreon.
Yeah, I guess if you become a $50 a month more or subscriber, then you get to come up here and light the cannon.
We'll even take a picture.
Yep. We'll have Beth
That's
Preston
a fast
Photography, who's done great work for us over the years. And, her business, I'm hoping, is going to take off from filming a lot of these people
it
and taking
has.
pictures.
She's got the venue now, and she's doing the 290 venue or whatever, doing all the photography there.
Yeah, I mean, she does great work.
Does absolutely amazing pictures.
Yeah, we need to put a few of those pictures up around here because there's some pictures really.
Well, here's the deal.
Album cover
This
quality.
is part of tonight. Part of the conversation is you all are now on the freaking clock. So Amos, we need a table in here. We need it to be sleek. We need it to be awesome. We need it to shine.
That's putting you under
camera.
pressure on air. Did you hear that?
We need to get a day that we come in here. We need to clean up in here, get rid of all this god awful British shit, hang up some. I'm just kidding, but we do need to.
I got the cannon. Remember,
we do need to maneuver it around to make it the spot that we need it to be, and hang up the couple of things we need to hang up, to make it right. And,
I've got a big. I've got a monster screen to go in here. There's all kinds of good stuff. So,
and the reason I said earlier the countdown begins to the end of this around the time my kid comes is because what I want to do is we get the cameras tomorrow. It's still going to be a month to get everything straight, situated, getting people set up, getting guests lined, all this kind of nonsense. And I really honestly don't want to schedule anything until after my child comes because I don't want to have a big weekend and it come early, her come early.
You don't want Tara to kill you.
Well, that too. I'm thinking about a date sometime in mid-October, maybe. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to text Spike first and foremost because I think he's a big reason why this is all possible. I want him to be on our very first show that we do video for. So I want to find a weekend in October that he can travel, come up here with the missus, stay a few days. We'll also have Henry up here for that, Jake and Ethan, Colby. It'll be a nice little event. Maybe we'll record a couple of shows at once to get a couple out there and get those clips out and do a big, huge, massive, kickoff party.
big launch.
Yes, big launch. We'll have a launch party. All the people who've helped us along the way.
Close to
can be up
Halloween,
here.
we can wear our costumes.
We can do that. Well, actually, I may not be able to wear that uniform any longer.
If you want to be somebody who is possibly invited up here to that big event, you need to go to patreon.com/getontap and become a subscriber right away because there's going to be a couple of subscribers who do have an opportunity to come up and hang out for that event because it's going to be huge. We're going to have a blast. People are going to be hanging out.
Bigly.
Yeah, it's going to be bigly.
Bigly.
Bigly. There we go. Big Lick and Bigly. How does that work?
Where can they find us on Twitter, on X?
Oh, yeah. Well, for us, it's at Get On Tap.
Right.
For the Appalachian Podcast. You can find us there and on Instagram and Facebook. I'm getting ready to add a couple of people here to the Facebook and Instagram pages to help it pop off a little bit more because I'm trying to do it all on my own. And that's just, I would rather team up with people. And even if just one of us did, once every couple of days, we're still getting more than I can because I'm doing really good with X, but, not everything else. And you can also find Chip at Being Libertarian Media on Facebook, along with Space Force page. You can find Being Libertarian UK, Being Libertarian Australia. There's a bunch of y'all out there.
Instagram, it's Being a Libertarian. We got the A in there on there. And then X, it's Being Libertarian, just BN without the G. But we also got Being Appalachian.
Yes, and that's a new Twitter page is something Chip and I are going to be working on and something that's been in the works for quite a while now. We've talked about it a little bit on the show, but I didn't really want to announce it or really start going forward with it until I secured the cameras up here because the whole idea of the Being Appalachian thing is for me and Chip and Spike to do a once a week thing like on a Zoom. Maybe I'll find a better platform than Zoom that has, but once a week, 30 minutes, 35 minutes. And between us three, we always bring a different and a big guest. We're talking people with massive followings, big journalists, big, maybe musicians. Anybody wants to come on and talk topical news once a week for, we'll talk about 3 or 4 subjects and it'll be me, Chip, Spike. And that's that's Being Appalachian. That's the page on X. And we're getting ready to turn over a Facebook page and dedicate it to that and an Instagram page dedicated to that. But it's kind of wild because I just started the page in March and haven't really done a lot with it. I gave Chip the keys to it. The other day, he goes and shares a meme that he created that he might have put it on other platforms from the Being Libertarian, but he went and put it on the Being Appalachian and shared it from the Being Libertarian page on X. And next thing I knew, 300,000 views. Then Ben Shapiro shared it. It gets to 1.2 million views. And now that page is moving in on 1,000 follows, and we just started it. So that's the power of social media. You know, when Being Libertarian is sharing our stuff, we're getting bigger, and then we start sharing their stuff and they get a little bit bigger. And as we're moving up together, you know, the reach we're going to have is going to make this show so much more appealing. You know, I can come hang out with those guys and get my brand out through Being Libertarian, but I can meet the Appalachian Podcast guys. So both of our brands increase, and more people come here. They spend money, they hang out, they eat at our restaurants, you know. They fall in love with Appalachian. Who knows? Maybe they come buy a spot up here.
Well, and it's about the network, because you're getting folks like Jeremy Kaufman and, you know,
or maybe we travel some and go see some people. Now we have that opportunity. Yeah, there's a ton of networking opportunities in there to bring smarter people to this area to learn from. I mean, like the opportunities that you get from networking with these people out here and getting them to come in and learning from each other and building those bridges. You know what I mean? Like that's very, very important. Like Appalachia needs something like that right now. We need people standing up. We need people falling in love with our area. We need people fighting for us. And this is the avenue right here. These people in this room, plus a couple others who can't be here tonight. This is the recipe right here. And
why wouldn't somebody like Elon Musk want to invest around here if he sees what's in front of him? I mean, he'd want to. He'd want that labor market.
Absolutely.
How brilliant of a business thought to talk to Donald Trump to do an interview, because since he got kicked off of Twitter, he ain't, maybe 2 times he has even put something on there. But how brilliant to get him to come on there, knowing that he's going to start using that platform again.
It was the perfect way to do it. And it was brilliant. And I think the numbers on it were insane, but nobody will talk about it. The mainstream media won't talk about it.
But that is the thing I like most about technology. Technology is almost took mainstream media out of the equation. And that's a beautiful thing.
Well, that's why crazy things are happening right now. They're trying to hold on to what they have left. And that's a whole big reason why I started this whole thing. You know, when I had the idea, it was during COVID, during the lockdowns and everything. And I was thinking to myself,
we were locked down in the woodshop.
Well, yeah. So I started the Franklin County meme page as kind of a rebellion. Everybody started sharing memes. And, you know, fighting against the whole narrative and speaking out against the narrative. And I started, and then, you know, I saw everything with what happened in Rocky Mount with the BLM in 2020. And they come in here and act like we're the most racist, slack-jawed individuals on the planet. And that's just not true. And I said, you know what? If you're going to come in here and you're going to berate us like this, I'm going to do anything I can to fight back. So I did. And I started the podcast, and I'm going to shine a positive light on this area. And, you know, I started off small, but, you know, only 20 episodes in, I already had Levi Lowry on, a CMA-nominated guy. And then, I get race car drivers by episode 30 and NASCAR. And then I bring Simon on board eventually. And about a year ago, I think when Spike came on is when it all came together. I got to throw a lot of credence to that show. You know, him saying yes.
That opened the door.
Him saying yes came up here. And now he's an advocate for us. He's a friend. He's somebody that answers the phone when we call and text. He's somebody that invites us to these events. He's helped us get our, message out there. And that's when I'd hit up Chip. I didn't even know who Chip was. I didn't know if Chip was young, old, a gamer, whatever. Maybe he could have been 50 for all I know with a name like Chip. But what I do know is I knew he was in the Floyd-Patrick County area. And if Spike was coming up here, if there's ever a better chance to holler at somebody who's got millions of followers on the internet, that was the time.
So you met Chip because of the internet, too?
Yeah, it was. It's Spike.
Yeah.
Again, that's the power of networking.
I said, we're having Spike up here in the mountain. Why don't you come hang out? And he came out, and look, here we are a year later.
And he had a man crush on Spike.
He's in,
I said, shit, Spike's in Franklin? Yep.
Yeah,
Can't miss that.
Yeah.
He
Sign
got
me
to
up.
meet Smokey. He got to meet all of us. Chip got to come on the show, and I guess that was the first big
Henry Law.
media thing for being libertarian as far as, I guess speaking or video was concerned in a while. And, kind of maybe reignited something in you, especially after we went to the Students for Liberty, conference and hung out. But, that up here on the mountain, I told every single one of y'all, I said, you're not going to see it right away, but the reverb effect is going to be massive.
Mm-hmm.
And once we turn this into something right, let's just play our cards right. Let's wait for the right moment. Because I could have overplayed my hand a long time ago and begged for sponsors.
It's always tempting to overplay that hand and go down chasing, subscriptions and piddly dollar amounts here and there. I'm not saying every conscription helps us enormously. But
for sponsors,
but in the big scheme of things,
yeah. Nickel and diamond sponsors and stuff,
Yeah.
Like y'all's time is very important. So I consider y'all kind of sponsors. I mean, y'all's time is very valuable. Simon, you got a farm to run and children. Amos, you got a child and businesses to run. Chip, you got 100 things going on. And to you, to a different extent, as far as getting the word out here for us, you were massive in that. So your time is like a sponsorship. That's why I'm constantly sharing y'all stuff and telling people about it, because you coming here with Spike putting this together.
Well,
here we are a little over a year later, and we're getting ready to take off to a massively big level, and we've got so much in the woodshed right now, just stockpiled, ready to bring out for this video that we just hadn't reached out to yet because I want them on video. I want them to have those clips for themselves.
And the honesty in independent media is what we're looking to replace at the end of the day, because we clearly don't have it. And the lies that, we're being basically, it's getting shoved down our throat. It's force fed. It's absolutely obscene. We've even got something came out recently. The Harris campaign got busted spoofing a news outlet, and this is the length of depravity that our elected officials are using. I mean, you can't base your whole campaign on lies. So, and this is where we're at with both sides of the campaign.
Well, I mean,
even this third party shit, right?
By the definition of the word campaign, you're running on a platform, right?
Yeah,
I mean, by basic definition of campaigning.
Yeah, you're running on a platform, but the platform has to have a basis of honesty behind it, and it isn't there.
Well, how in the ever living hell can you be running for president and
that was a
decide
coup.
to use the exact same phrase, no taxes on tips? Dude, you voted to hire a bunch of IRS agents to specifically go after.
Well, they were specifically designed to go after the mega wealthy, those guys, the millionaires. And it doesn't take 87,000 new agents that have been trained and armed to do that.
But how appropriate. She has absolutely no policy positions at all. And the one she comes out with is
stolen from Trump.
Is the taxes from Trump that they originally took from Ron Paul and Thomas Massey. So, libertarians are right in the mix again.
It's actually a very dangerous policy. And the fact that they're both supporting it, I think, is rather amusing. Because what you're doing now is everyone's going to get, we'll base our pay on tips that aren't taxed. And it opens up a horrible door of abuse. I'm not saying you should be taxed on tips. I don't think you should. It's that simple. It's been taxed once, and it's down to the tipper. But what's happened is with the tipping and the manipulation of tipping, and it's egregious, is that you're now being forced to tip upwards of 25%, and it's put on every bill, and it's automatic. Now that shit's got to stop.
Yeah,
it's down to it's down to the tipper as to what he chooses and pleases,
and how good of a job you do or not.
And that, if they're going to attack the tipping thing, then attack that. Okay.
Well, how about let's remind
taxed.
everybody too that it was actually Ron Paul who introduced that bill back in 2008 or 2010, sometime around that, to eliminate those from taxing that. So and then Trump took it from him. So
I tell you what this is.
Give it to Ron Paul.
This is a red herring. And I can tell you that for sure because both parties have now endorsed it and they both know how dangerous the legislation behind that and collecting revenue as a result of people manipulating it is going to be. So it's a red herring. Okay, it's just like Biden saying, "Well, we're going to give student loan. I mean, we're going to get rid of these student loans, and the taxpayer will pay for them." I mean, that was a grab for votes. I mean, that was blatant bribery. This is the same thing. It's a red herring. It's never going to happen. The Supreme Court knocks every single cancellation of student debt down. So you know. And they keep plugging it. So this is their policy decision. No, it's a red herring. They know exactly what they're doing, and it's voter bribery.
Well, if it's set up right,
and if you fall for it, you're the fool, not me.
If it would be set up right, where wait staff and hospitality, it could be set up right where it could be minimal abuse. I mean, damn, look at the COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about, you know, instead of we shouldn't be worried about how much taxes I'm paying on this or you're paying on that. If we were worried about where that money was going, the rest of it would take care of itself.
Well, that's the one thing. The Twitter Spaces that came on last night with Trump and Elon Musk. One of the greatest things I took out of that was Elon Musk talking about inflation and actually explaining to Trump what inflation was. He's like, it's when the government outspends the money supply,
right?
And he kept repeating himself to make that point. That,
or the government pushing money into
exactly
the pool,
COVID payments.
Oh, dude, that was brutal.
That's what kicked it all off.
But the other element of the tips thing, which people may not appreciate, but this is it, is so many tips are given over credit cards, right? So when that credit card transaction goes through, it then becomes part of, rather than a cash transaction for a tip, which I do all the time. I will not tip on a credit card.
That's a real tip.
Yeah. But that's a real tip.
Yep.
So that is exactly where that needs to remain. And if you're tipping, I would say tip in cash, and then you're avoiding that whole declaration of income from the business holder and this tax bullshit. So I'm just urge people, if you're gonna tip someone and your wait staff or whatever situation you're in to be tipping, do it with cash. Don't do it with a credit card, because then you're into that whole now got to declare because it's gone through the banking system, and the banksters are the gangsters. Did I say that out loud?
Up on a receipt for that.
Of course it will.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Digital receipt.
You know, so it's a digital receipt.
Yeah.
Again, it's digital dominance and just bleeding us of every last cent we have. Bankster gangsters.
But at the same time, you know, if you go with a no tax on tips, there's a lot of business owners, hotel owners.
It opens up a huge.
Yeah, they're going to convince you to work for less.
Well, they do anyway.
Yeah, but
they're all below minimum wage.
Yeah.
Waitresses are below minimum wage. Don't think they're not waiters. They're below minimum wage.
But
they know they make a killing on tips. Why do you think there's still a great fucking profession where these people don't think they're not poor if they're doing their job right and they're in the right? They've positioned themselves in a busy environment, and they've got the right business behind them. That makes their money. You're being rewarded for success. What a concept!
Look,
if you want to throw down a plate of whatever and just slap it down, do you think you're going to get a tip? Hell no.
I go to West Texas to visit my buddy Fuzz. He's got a good friend that's a veterinarian, owns a couple of veterinarian hospitals, and the man loves to eat. He likes the good. I mean, the nice stuff. We walk in there. They call, "Hey Doc, how you doing this evening?" Set him down. When he sits down at the table, he opens his wallet and hands whoever says, "Hey, I'm gonna be your server tonight." He opens his wallet and hands her $100 bill.
I've seen that policy personally, and it works.
Especially, and dude, you will. It is, and when you're done, and he picks up the tab for the whole table, he's still giving another tip. And I asked him, I was like, "Doc, I need to know, What's your logic behind it? He was like, well, I'm not going to do that if I'm at the beach, wherever. Now, I'm still going to take care of her. But he was like, if your waitress or waiter comes up to the table, is very articulate, get your drink orders right away, boom. He was like, right then and there, I'm tipping them. Stormed.
Right.
Because at that moment, either I'm going to get the best service in the world, or they're a piece of crap. And, he's well loved in every establishment,
I'm sure.
But in that I've adopted that concept to a degree.
Yeah.
Obviously I ain't got Doc's money, but right off the rip, the waiter shows up. But you think about how many restaurants it's shared. It don't matter you can be the greatest, server in the establishment, but at the end of the night, if you got to pull all your cash out and flop it on the table and divide it equal, because a lot of restaurants do that,
and that's BS too. Honestly,
you damn right it is.
That is. That's. I mean, and here's my deal when it comes to a wait staff.
That's not then it's not a tip.
Number one rule: I don't ever blame the wait staff for how the food comes out. It ain't their, you know what I mean? They put it in, it's up to the cook. When they bring it back out, if there's something wrong, there's no reason to sit there or to penalize them for it. If you're happy, I don't need you to kiss my ass, but if you're happy, you don't look like you hate your life. You're, yes, thank you, blah, blah, blah. You keep my drink filled and you just come by and check every few minutes whether we're okay, and you're getting a good tip. It's not hard. You don't have to do anything special. Just do your job competently. Make sure my sweet tea is filled. But you can overdo it too. Make sure my beer is filled.
You can overdo it.
Not
it's
really.
all about
you can't overdo it with me.
You can.
You keep my glass filled.
But that's about observance. An observance from far, and that's the difference between the really professional wait staff is observing the table. Now, when you're crushed and you're running around and you've got too many tables to cover, because minimum wage has limited the amount of wait staff that you can afford to pay, then you're stretched thin. And that observance, what you're doing by minimum wage is you're decreasing the effectiveness of the employee, right? Because now you are going to have to be dealt with minimum wage. As a result, less employees, which is the crushing element of that whole argument. Is minimum wage does not help the lower income earning people, such as wait staff, and it makes their job even harder. So you're automatically, the result of that is going to be less service.
But if they get paid, if wait staff gets paid in tips, minimum wage don't apply.
Right. Well, you don't want to hunt for minimum wage because minimum wage is actually a devastating thing for the lower income population. It's absolutely abundantly clear. It is a horrible thing.
Well, it gives us an opportunity to jump on our next topic. And actually, I do want to circle back around eventually.
Was that so? Oh, was that a Jen Psaki comment? No, that was a Jen Psaki'd us.
He was all over it.
He's going to come out with a bloody Trump impression soon.
I want to circle back around and talk about a few things about our future and how we're going to handle that and the things we have to look forward to, because I'm really excited about that. Thinking about it coming up the road today and talking to Chip at Boland's, for a big shout out to them. They don't sponsor us or anything, but me and Chip always, try to make it up there before every show.
It's cash only. I appreciate that.
There we go. That's how to do business.
I have a couple dogs. I'll get me a bottled RC. Sometimes I drink the beer, but I think if we actually go up there and do a show, I will drink beer because it is the coldest beer you can get anywhere. It is chilled to perfection coming out of those bottles. But it's always before a show when I'm going, and I drink liquor when I do a show, not beer. So
we've seen
maybe
the consequences.
We can do a show at Boland's sometime here in the very near future. So we'll circle back around to how our future is looking. But before we do that, I want to talk about something else that's been massively big in the news. And fortunately for us, here at the Appalachian Podcast, we have one of these red coats sitting right across the way from us here.
Here it comes.
And right now, we talked a little bit about this on last week's show about how, the UK, Britain, whatever you want to call it, British, whatever you want to call it, England, they're kind of, people are fed up. There's riots going on. People are being jailed for posting on social media. They're taking up for migrants right now. The last poll I saw said 35% of the UK wants to violently overthrow their government. And mind you, it only took 3% usually as
3%
and
will do it.
35% right now wants to do it. So, but here recently, a couple of these, and pardon my language, if you got kids, tell them to cover their ears. These fucking dorks, these British fucking dorks, this weird looking woman with spiked hair about like 6 inches, and then this Orville Redenbacher looking douche who's on the chief of police or whatever for the UK, whatever he is.
That's it. That was this. I saw that
saying that, we will come and potentially arrest. And let me just remind you, even if you outsource it to our local officials or state, whoever they are, they will be viewed as redcoats, all the frickin' same. You know what I mean? We will get Patriot on some motherfuckers. That enraged me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Pardon my language.
That was the commissioner of the Metropolitan Police,
Police, yes,
that made the claim, basically stating that they would extradite anybody from America in case they posted anything inflammatory that they deemed inflammatory.
Well, you've got to overcome our First Amendment right there. So that's dead.
And
it's already dead in the water, right?
Well, and the cool part about that is when you actually go on that page and look, the first 150 comments, 200, as far as you can scroll, are some of the biggest accounts, with the most follows in the United States, basically telling them to fuck right on off.
Yeah, but listen, let's be honest. Where did this blueprint come from?
Oh, well, right now, make no mistake.
I've always said COVID was a dry run. How fast can we convince the public to do what we say? Yeah. And you just think back to COVID, how many people you think got called up for something they put on social media?
Oh, it was a dry run.
In America. You had
it's true.
The Governor Waltz had a hotline for you to rat on each other.
Don't
Yeah. Well, look, everyone wants to say right now we're up in arms. Let me remind you that people are being arrested and thrown in jail. There was an American, I can't remember, was it Utah or Illinois or something, not too long ago. He was a 60-some-year-old man, not very mobile, not very agile. The FBI knew exactly his position, what he was capable of. They busted in his house and they executed him. They said, he made threats on the internet, to the White House or whatever the case may be. He was fat and old, and there was no way he would ever be able to go through with those threats, and they knew it. But what did they do instead? They kicked in his door and they executed him.
Well, he probably had a gun.
What?
They kicked in his door. He probably had a gun.
He did, obviously.
They felt threatened.
Well, they knew he had a gun. So, that's the thing. They knew. They didn't have to kick in his door. They didn't have to kick in Duncan Limp's door.
That's right.
They didn't have to kick in the chick in Louisville. They didn't have to go and do what they did in Waco. They didn't have to kill people on Ruby Ridge.
Well, Janet Reno, she was good.
What concerns me about that statement from that delightful police commissioner from the Met is that our State Department hasn't responded. Right? Our State Department has not responded to that threat to U.S. citizens.
I told my wife I probably wouldn't be able to travel over there. They might, jerk me off the plane as soon as I got off.
Yeah, that's
we posted directly on their page.
Yeah. So that to me is a real big issue.
Mm-hmm.
And don't think that isn't going to get transferred this side.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, it's
coming.
It's on the ballot.
Yeah,
it's coming. Be deeply concerned about that.
Oh, I don't think there's no different. I see it so much hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
From the whole COVID thing, whether it's in
Australia,
this side of the pond or this side of the pond,
Italy, it's crazy.
Everybody, hey, if we say it, you got to do it. Unless you're Newsom, go to arrest with Pelosi, you do this. Everybody, they were all doing their shit.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to listen to what we say. We're shutting down Angle Hardware, but Lowe's is welcome to stay open.
Yeah, how do you do that?
Yeah, that ain't right. Well, it's easy. They figured out it was easy.
Mm-hmm.
So from that day forward, no matter what comes up, it's easy. Hey, if we see something on social media, that's where they can springboard off that because they can do it. There's no repercussions from that go around.
That's if they get away with it, they'll keep doing it.
Isn't that the way all our kids do?
Well,
True.
herein lies an example. Pelosi has written a book that she's peddling, The Art of Power. And it's her story as America's first woman Speaker of the House. Okay. In my mind, it should read The Abuse of Power.
Mm-hmm.
But she's now touting political violence must stop through this book. But it wasn't that long ago that she threatened to punch out the then President Trump.
And isn't this sort of the standard playbook they take there?
This is very much the playbook that they're using and abusing, and I don't know how to stop it, other than honesty in media, and honesty in our elected representatives, and they both need to be held to a higher standard, with significant consequences for when they breach it, which is basically what they're doing now, is lying through their teeth.
Because they have no consequence.
And there is no consequence. Mm-hmm. There is no accountability. And we're in the biggest propaganda sham of all time. And I don't believe a damn thing that we're being fed right now.
When this is why
nothing.
This is why people should tune into us, because for a lot of the people around here, if you're riding around in your tractor, you're riding around going to work, you're sitting in your office or whatever, you don't have time to be paying attention to everything. Tune into us. We're going to try and point you in every direction we can, whether that direction be in places to go get your food, places to go get your produce, places to go get, roofing, places to go get chickens, places to go get beef, farmers markets, things like that. But we're also going to give you, news and how things are going around the world and how they affect the Appalachian region and things we need to do to be able to prepare for that. Like what I like about this show and what I want this show to be, and especially when we go to the video side of things, is we're just sitting around hanging out, having a conversation like we're sitting on the river fishing, or like we're sitting up at the wood shop. The wood shop is where I got the idea for this thing, because the conversations are always great. I want people sitting around. And then when you tune in on the video,
an authentic environment.
And when you tune in on the video and you're watching, I want people to get a load of a clip and say, damn, I want to go up there and hang out with those guys. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't care if they come share our shit. If they want to, great. I want them to come hang out and see what our kind of life is, and then take it back to your millions of followers and say, hey, this is a good way to go. Start striving for this. That's what this is all about. Like, I don't want everybody and their cousin to move to Appalachia. I like it being rural. But I want you to take our belief systems, our concepts, our ideals, and apply them to your everyday life. Mm-hmm. Go support your local person, support your local farmer. You ain't got to be in Appalachia. You can be in the Midwest. You can be in the Pacific Northwest. And
be anyway.
And I'm just, that's why supporting us and supporting local and paying attention to what's going on is so crucial.
Be a little bit more responsible with your own destiny, which is owning, how you live your life.
And tune in and share this with your friends. Yeah. Like everywhere I know Amos does it a bunch. I know you do it a bunch. You're out and talking to people like, hey, listen to the show. For all you out there that do listen, share the links, find a show that you enjoy and you say, hey, my friend might enjoy this because they're talking about this or that. And I promise you, once the cameras start coming, we're going to get back to kind of our old ways where we bring in different guests. Like I would love to get Beth Macy in here to talk about the opioid epidemic. I'd love to get Homer Hickman in here to talk about being the Rocket Man. I'd love to get, tons of people, to come into these walls right here and sit down. And so that's going to happen, the last few months, as I said earlier, for what we have coming, expecting.
We're building up a crescendo.
What we're trying to do is trying to get all of us together, plus Stuart, from time to time, to get that repertoire going. That way, when we do go to video, we got something really strong. We've got somebody, now Amos is comfortable behind a mic. Now Chip, because I've watched Chip over the past few months get more and more comfortable. He starts interjecting a whole lot more. He starts, you know what I mean? Like, it's really not easy to get behind a microphone and start talking. It's not. You have to really work your way into it. And it's taken me years. Simon's a natural, obviously, because he's in my six. But, watching Amos get better and better in command of the room, watching Chip get better and better, like, we have been wanting to bring you guests, and we just haven't, because we're trying to build up a repertoire here. And it's hard to get people around with everything we're going through right now. But once we're clear, Simon, I think, is going to get a good bill of health around the same time my third is here. And we'll get a month out from that, and we'll start celebrating going to video, and YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, all that shit's going to start blowing up for us.
And a big thing is people talking to each other. I mean, because if you would look at any data or watch any news, all of us in this room, we're not friends. We're not friends. We could never be friends. I mean, there's no reason that Ivy League lacrosse guy and
a rugby playing,
British and a hillbilly.
How do you put this shit together?
Like, yeah, that's right. Like, none of us should have any reason to talk to each other, right?
But the fact we do is exactly why we're here.
And that's what people are lacking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if dude, I'm going to talk to everybody. I like everybody until I have a reason not to. And that takes a lot. I still talk to Billy.
It doesn't take much.
Well, we all do.
By the way, Billy, there's a friend of mine made a comment on one of my Facebook posts. And my response was, if Billy Riddle sees this, I'm in trouble. His comment was that now he's a barrister in London, or was a barrister in London.
Uh-oh.
Hold on, this is somebody in London
Right. Yeah, big
who knows my name.
Well, I've given him your name. Anyway, I'd made this post. It was the post with me against the
so you're
background.
already known with that commissioner over there.
Wow, probably.
with the International Space Station pull shot, right, at NASA. So that was the post I made. Anyway, this chap who was a former barrister goes, Agent Winch, you are now close to some of our enemies' closest guarded secrets. Proceed carefully.
Oh, there it is.
To which my response was, if Billy sees this, I'm in trouble.
That's evidence right there.
It was only a matter of time before it came out, but it made me laugh my arse off.
I'm definitely going to have to. Wow.
That's absolute evidence.
So now we know we are being listened to in the UK. Probably on multiple. We're definitely being listened to on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We know for a fact.
Oh, that's a dead cert.
We know for a fact that that our friends who have,
was there.
who actually have probably made Chip a ton of money.
This is what preparation does.
Our friends,
Preparation H.
I mean, our good friends at the good old Secret Service have probably put a bunch of money in Chip's pocket over the past month or so through all the memes that have been. I mean, they have given us, and you know, because of that, we know that that they do in fact listen to this show for multiple reasons, and the fact that I know multiple people have told Simon this. I know both people have told me this. I know I've always heard that once all your social media accounts get over 10,000 followers, typically, you start getting looked at. But, just from the people we've had on the show.
But if Elon Musk is commenting on your content, we might be in that pass level up there somewhere.
Yes. Yeah.
Just
I mean,
it's wild.
I mean, that's the funnest part about all of this, is doing it with my friends, people that I love, and then meeting new people along the way that I've learned to love as friends. Like Chip, he's a buddy, man. He's somebody we trust and count on now. We've got Smokey, we've got Spike. I mean, the people we've met along the way, building this whole thing. It's been a special ride. Like we have done this together.
It's been a graft, actually. It's been hard work.
It's really hard work to sit into the wood shop till 3:00 in the morning with Crawford and Power 2 hours after the show is over, drinking
on
liquor
a Tuesday night
and telling stories when we both got to work the next day.
Trying to find out from Simon which F1 driver was this guy and this guy, trying to narrow down our investigation.
I mean, and even once we take off too, I want to make sure that we have a couple of Woodshop Chronicles that shows every year too. We go in there and set the cameras up because the woodshop was such a massive part. You've never been to the woodshop, have you yet? It's been such a massive part.
Let's make this table. Let's do it.
Some of our biggest and best shows took place there. Are one of our biggest events. And when I say we have events, it's bigger shows where a lot of people show up. I think the Spike event.
It was the Ryan expose on the Woodshop Chronicle. That was
December, the one. We had Chris Hodges from Floyd Fest. We had Henry Law. We had Brian from the Burger Company, Crawford and Power. We had the entire band. We had Henry Law. We had Colby Helms.
Topher Field.
Yeah, we had. I mean, that's our third biggest event in my opinion.
Great.
That's event number 3 that was big for us. The Spike
if Topher Fields if he comes to the woodshop ever, take me out of this world. I'm done.
Which I encourage anybody, if you're still listening, If you're still listening, go back and search on our website.
He's another
for
brother.
the
that's for
Topher
sure.
Field episode. It's back from February or so.
I reposted it recently.
Best we've ever had. One of the best we ever recorded. Like the conversation was on another level.
But it really showed to me government overreach and where it can go. Australia was definitely the worst example of the COVID Nazism. And I would say to everyone, go listen to that particular show.
But the same thing was happening here during COVID too.
Well, it was, but to a lesser degree.
On a smaller scale. Yeah. But you just think about if every state, if this whole country was the Californias, was the Minnesotas, with ratting on your family for having a Sunday dinner together.
It was a failed attempt, that they tried.
It's true.
It was a failed attempt. It was going in that direction, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
And don't think it's still isn't.
And for him to be willing to
18 months in jail for it. There's a man of conviction. There's a man of integrity. He's a cool dude.
That was beautiful.
We've had some good times on this show. I mean, we really have. I mean, and we've done it together. And we built it together, and and that's why I'm glad to bring y'all along, because honestly, first and foremost, it would never have happened without my wife. If I didn't have her and my children that I do this for, because I want them to have a better life, that's the biggest reason. I could have did this over the road and had all the time in the world when I was a truck driver and just did it in my cab and blah, blah, blah. But I needed the right time, the right moment. I needed the right inspiration. And that was my daughter and now my son. And
plus 458 hours sitting in the wood shop over a course of about 3 years, being like, Billy, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And he was like, Amos, take one for the team. Tell Tara that we were working on such and such.
There you go.
But ultimately it started for me begging Amos. I'm like, dude, just put some cameras in here of you building shit, do some time lapses, cut out the fat in the middle, add a little music to it, you talking to the camera for a second. Dude, that would sell all over because you're personable. And I couldn't get him to do it, and I couldn't sell him on it. Didn't have enough money for cameras, but what I did have enough money for was some bullshit podcast equipment. I say, well, I'll bring the podcast to Amos, and if I can sell Amos on it, then I can sell the fucking world on it. Pardon my language once again. And then Amos, started nudging me towards Simon, and that's when Simon came on board. But I mean, the woodshop episodes, we've had some fun shows in town. We've had some fun shows on the road and Liberty Fest and just, I'm glad y'all have been along for the ride, and I would not have wanted to do it with anybody else.
Bless you, mate.
And I think we've got a golden opportunity here because we believe in each other, because we care about each other, care about each other's children and the future that they have to hold on to. And we've got people that need leadership, people that need a voice. And it's up to us to be that voice. We have a responsibility now.
We care about a lifestyle.
A responsibility.
We care about a lifestyle. We don't just care about each other. We care about a lifestyle that is getting lost fast.
Yep.
I mean, that's how I feel about it.
Through government intervention, I may add.
Yep.
And that's the biggest crime of all.
Well, because you can break down the community that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So I say, rise up and resist. Mm-mm. Do not comply. Do not comply.
That's why, talk to everybody. And when Spike was down here early in, hosted him over there, and he, gave a speech over there, the BLM guys from Franklin County was there listening to him.
Yep. We've sat around the same table. We've sat around the same table and broke down that we don't have that many differences.
We sat in here in this room with the BLM guys.
Absolutely.
And done shows.
So we've realised that we don't have those differences along all the propaganda that that has made us so divisive. It doesn't exist.
You realize that
it doesn't exist.
What you see on TV is, that is only the only reason them that exists is because the TV convinces you it does.
Yeah, don't feed into the hatred. Just don't do it.
They're trying to make money. Everything's about clicks now.
Yeah,
it's all a clickbait society.
And, Dennis's niece,
oh, she was a sweetheart.
She's never seen she's absolutely,
fresh out of Jamaica.
Yeah, Boston. And last Sunday, they were at the pool hanging out. And then, we're all carrying on. I walked over, I sat down beside her. And I was like, Sammy, is this what you thought mountain people right now, if on the globe, is this who you thought we were?
What was your perception?
No.
Probably a bunch of racist slack jobs.
And I was like, so
Mm-hmm.
what,
Mm-hmm.
In Boston, in Jamaica, what this dot right here in Virginia on the map, what these people on a Sunday afternoon, what are they? I mean, and in her view, I mean, we were still burning torches and wearing hoods. I mean, like literally.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I don't, she's like, if Uncle Dennis would, like, I mean, she didn't want to come down the gravel road. They got to the end of the pavement and like, she was like, Uncle Dennis, no. We don't go on a dead end. No. Out here,
The banjos are playing.
So,
How ridiculous.
and she was like, I mean, she loves it. I mean, she's like, I just can't believe that what this is real.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why this show is so very important. And that's why I knew it would be important, because sitting up there at the wood shop and seeing those conversations happen, like, when ABC and CBS or whoever it was came to town and did those op-eds or did those, interviews or whatever. And, they said, oh, the racism is so blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I got to thinking about all our times up at the wood shop. And I said, no. I said, we're going to get on there. We're going to tell these stories. And a big part of that is part of my story. When I first started dating my wife, and to be real quick about this, how the universe works, I met her the day I graduated college. We spoke. I remembered her. We talked. She was dating somebody else at the time. Went on about our lives. A few years later, she was still dating the same person who happened to be from around here. And we all meet back up at weddings. And a couple of times in a couple of summers, me and her talk. We just happened to meet up at the weddings and talk for 30 minutes or so, whatever. And then she moves in eventually next door to my best friend. So I'm always down there hanging out with her, and, whatever happens. But I just thought all those years of meeting her and randomly running into her at weddings, and for some reason always making sure we had a conversation. I don't know why. Like everybody else there, friends I've known for years, I would always, need to be talking to. Mm-hmm. But I talked to her. Weddings. Same way I met Amos. All these people are here to see me shove off to boot camp. People I've known my entire life wanting to wish me off. And I'm standing in the corner talking to this guy who's straight out of the German Baptist church over everybody else. First time I ever met him.
That's funny.
Same with
and
my
send
wife.
him care package to Iraq.
Nice.
Yeah, so never meet him. Start randomly talking to him over everybody else there who I should be talking to. Comes one of the best men at my wedding. My wife, same deal, run into her at a couple of weddings. Should be talking to everybody else there except for her.
She brought her to the wood shop.
Talking to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually we get together, and I was like, all right, first couple of weeks, I'm bringing her up to the wood shop. We'll see how it works out. And she goes up there and she meets everybody, and I just sit back and just watch it go.
Mm-hmm. Must have worked out pretty well.
Or she looked at Amos and she said, I don't know how, but, there's somebody up here from 18 to 80 talking, drinking beer, smoking a bowl, conversating.
In a wood shop.
And from different backgrounds, different ages, different lifestyles. I mean, you might go up to the wood shop. You might go up to the wood shop one night and two gay guys are going to be up there. Black people up there, Mexican people. Like there is no, if you're a good person, you come up there and hang out. And that's how this show is rounded about. And that's why I knew it was a great idea and it was bulletproof, is because we're going to sit around this table and talk to anybody and everybody and have the receipts. You want to scream at us and say, oh, you're racist? Bullshit. We've had Brian and Darnell on here. We've had John on here. We've had Cheryl on here. We've had tons of people.
That's why you take your God-given brain and you make your own decision about everybody. There's no reason. I mean, I really think that most of the hate is just straight propaganda.
Well, absolutely.
That really is not. It is. Mm-hmm. I mean, Dennis, great friend of mine. And like we talk about it all the time. I mean,
well, that's my whole point.
They want us to not like each other.
That's my whole point. You go up to the wood shop and there's 18-year-old trying to figure his life out, or a 20-year-old. There's a 30-year-old up there who's fought addiction for years and who's trying to make himself better. Or there's a Brit up there who, just randomly showed up about 10 years ago. There's a Jamaican guy up there. There's a gay person up there. There's white, there's black, old, young, man, woman, and that's how we learn. And that's why.
That's our community.
This is so important.
That's our community.
That's why
We
this
don't
is
have to force the
important.
diversity.
Yes,
It
that's why you can never come after us. That's why we're bulletproof, is because we've got the receipts. We've got people that are going to sit there and tell you that we're open and we're understanding. We don't have to agree. I don't agree with your lifestyle all the time.
Hell no.
No,
That's the
but
last thing we need to
what
do.
I'm going to do is be friendly. I'm going to be nice. If you're adding more to the community than you're taking out and you're helping better us, then I'm going to be there for you as well. And I'm going to pray for you if you're doing something I don't agree with, but I'm not going to turn my back on you. I'm going to be welcoming. You know what I mean?
And that right there is the definition of Appalachia. They'll agree to disagree all day long. I mean, but you're not going to not talk to each other because you kind of got to. If you're back in the holler, you probably don't want to say too much bad stuff about the people up front that you don't, because you got to a little bit depend on each other.
That's right.
But also they'll let you know if you get out of line. It's beautiful. This is a beautiful place.
Oh yeah.
I mean, honestly, right now, can you think in your head, if I ask you all to think for 1 second, and you know how the left does it, like they like to break everything down into so many different stupid freaking categories to divide us in every way, shape, or form they can. There's only 2 categories I look at. Are you a good person? Or are you not a good person?
That's it.
If you're a good person, we'll see what we can do. If you're a bad person,
We don't have to agree.
I'm not even saying I won't work with you if you're a bad person, because I might see something in you that needs to be changed, and maybe I'm that person that help change you. And I'm not saying just because you are a good person, I will work with you. You know what I mean? Like, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. But I think one thing,
I get the point. I get that point. But we're at a point of this wokeism, this cancel culture, this Marxism playbook that we're all basically part of.
Well, my
has to
point
stop.
is, can you think of one person or one ideological group or one race or one ethnicity or one sexuality, whatever the case may be? Can you think of one of them that has never not been welcome, either up at the wood shop or up here, one way, shape, or form? I think we all know somebody who's gay. We all know somebody who's Mexican. We all know somebody who's Muslim. We all know somebody who's straight. We know somebody who's big, you know what I mean? And every single one of them have always been welcome up here.
Nobody died and made me Jesus. I don't judge much.
Mm-hmm.
No, well, actually, it would be against your religion to judge,
Yeah.
because none of us can judge. That's all there is to it.
And we don't. I mean, we can't let the left dictate those terms. I mean, we know what we are. We're secure in
But
that.
we also have
They got a big head start, though.
a big problem with a mental issue in society. And I'm not going to go down that particular road, but there's a mental issue that is prevalent right now that needs to be acknowledged as a mental issue, not a sexual identity issue. And let's take the crap out of that, because that's where that conflict of acceptance becomes a problem.
Well, it's really easy to get riled up, and it's really easy to get angry, and it's really easy to let your mind start going to dark places, believe you me. And I've said this, on the show before, and I've thought about it, and we'll just use a name, Hillary Hinton. I think is one of the most evil, vile, and disgusting reptilian lizard people, blood-sucking, nasty human beings on the frickin' planet. And thinking about it,
Don't hold back, Billy.
Given the opportunity, when I say that, maybe the powers of God, I would probably deliver, swift justice. That's what's always in my mind. And just multiple people like that, not just, just hypothetically speak. People I think are just awful, evil, beyond corrupt. But at the same time, you always have to pull yourself back and say, that's not up to you. That judgment is not left for you. If you had that opportunity to take that away from them, you don't know what you were removing from God's plan, because you might get up to heaven and they say, oh, Mr. Riddle, you took out Hillary Minton, you know, and who was an evil, awful person and was doing horrible things to people. And you're going to say, yes, that was a great thing, St. Peter. And he's like, well, no, because in just a few weeks, that person was going to have a tragic incident and then turn themselves to God and move millions of people over into that direction. You know what I mean? Like, it's very tough to live in it. It's very hard to live in this society where people who want you dead and don't give a crap about you, but have to have a little bit of hope and faith for those people. It's hard.
But it really all backs up to,
are you a good person or are you a bad person?
Like nobody talking to each other, not having conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it all backs up to. You know, not being able to have a conversation and, you know, think about everybody. Think about their background, where they come from. You know, we had this huge Denison, Sammy was up at the pool, Cheryl, Angelique, and very diverse group of people.
Very diverse.
And I don't know, some conversation about seeing color. Now, I mean, this group is huge diverse as far from one end to the other. And
especially up in a holler.
Yeah.
They can't hear
on
you
a fun day
scream.
Sunday around the pool. And I was like,
That's right. It's natural.
I see color. I want to see color. I want to look at you and see that you're a black Jamaican dude that runs a food truck. And I want to look at you and your partner. Y'all own a restaurant. You know, I want to see color, because if I want to hear your British accent and
Fake British accent.
yeah,
Put on.
but you know,
MI6.
you want to, yes, you do want to see that.
Yes, because you want to learn
embrace
from
it.
them. You want to learn from
Yes.
their struggle.
Now that is the diversity that we want to see.
Yeah, I mean, that's coming from a damn Dunkard kid, German Baptist.
That's why we are the #1 podcast in the German Baptist community. ladies and
Absolutely.
gentlemen.
And they all, I mean, that entire diverse group agree. Every single one of them agreed. But that's not the way people think about it. No, you want to see color. I want to see color. I want to see
color. I want to see differences.
Yeah.
I want to see accents. I want to taste different foods. I want to know about your culture. You know what I mean? Like it's, it's quite okay for people to segregate themselves and want to live within their communities, and then go amongst other communities and purchase their goods and talk about their goods, and then go back to their own communities. And sometimes, people from other communities might come over to your parties and hang out. And sometimes you might go to theirs. It's okay to segregate yourselves and celebrate your culture, and then also share that culture with other people. You can do both at one time. I've had these conversations many a times with, Donnell and Brian, and I say, I want people to discriminate. Please put a sign on the door that says, I hate white people, or please put a sign on the door that says, I hate black people, because I want to know that you hate people, and I don't want to give you my business. If you can hide it from me, and I go in your business and I disagree with you on that front, well, hell, you might just shave off your pubes in my soup in the back room. I don't want that. I want to know what your thoughts are, and if you're going to put them out there.
That was very graphic, Billy.
Well, I'm just saying, wouldn't you? I mean, like I want to, and I think when I bring that up to Brian and Darnell, their biggest concern is nobody would go support, people in the black community. That's just horseshit. Look how Cheryl gets supported. People are going to be supported based off of merit, and it's that freaking simple. Sure. And if you're good, you're good. You're gonna succeed. And if you're not, keep working at it, and you'll find a way. The rest of it is bullshit. This is 2024. This isn't 1872. We don't give a shit anymore. We want good product. We want good people, and it's simple as that.
The black, white, race. First of all, that should never, ever be in the equation.
Well, let's dispel that myth about Appalachia.
Yeah,
let's dispel that myth, because it's a myth, right? The definition, look up the definition of myth, and please don't use Google to do it, because they'll tell you something completely different. But look up the definition.
So if
it is
across the world, across the media, if there was a story of on a dead-end road on a Sunday afternoon, in the middle of the Appalachian Mountains. There was a 50th birthday party, a bunch of friends together, grilling together, hanging around the pool together. And there would have been 2 white guys that was partners, married. There would have been 2 black girls that are happily married. There would have been a white couple there with their black grandchildren. And then, a German Baptist boy, a British dude with his New Jersey wife.
Damn Yankee.
Jamaican people,
Yeah.
former convicts,
yes,
former junkies,
You know,
people
absolutely.
struggling.
Recovering heroin addict, covered in tattoos from head to toe.
He did look like Jailbait, by the way.
Man.
Bless him. Just a decent guy.
That is
Such a decent
that
guy.
is addiction.
That- Yep.
I mean,
Is that our favorite story from this show ever? Is that who we're talking
dude,
about?
I love him a lot. Let me
Tell you
finish.
what, I'm
Not Ryan. He wasn't
So
Ryan.
that
so
was the best.
now, in what world and in what media do you tell me a politician in Washington would believe that would be seen on a Sunday afternoon?
they don't want to believe it because
Eating
it
together.
breaks their narrative.
Does that
apart.
exist in this world?
Yes, it exists.
No,
Yes,
it
it does. It
Just
does.
Yes, it
here.
does.
Not by what we
Corporate
or
media.
what everybody says.
It's led to believe.
The hell it don't. On any given Sunday afternoon, hit up the holler.
There you go.
But I mean, and like we literally all sit up there and had the conversation about how much of a lie
we're being fed.
corporate America, the media feeds.
We have to
'Cause
break it.
that literally
Yep.
don't exist.
We have to break that
Chip's a
cycle.
lawyer. He's like, dude, that was a good dream if you come in his office and say something like that. I mean, and it does.
I hope we can make a difference.
We already are making a difference.
Yeah.
You know, we look back and think about the first time we had Gail and Thad on the show, and she said that following weekend she had the right after the show had like the second best day ever she's had in sales. You know, people listen and people share it out, and it's been. And thank you for everybody that does, because it's been difficult lately. I know it's hard to be able to want to tune in. I know there's a lot of things that are taking away your attention for those who do. And very, very soon we're going to have a lot of people, because once those clips start going out and people see the passion and they see the aesthetics of this cabin and the bigger and bigger names start coming here, you know, you're going to.
But now they know what you look like.
You're going to, yeah. I got to start losing a little bit of weight. I think I got to start looking a little bit better and handing off the computer duties right here to somebody.
It's just been unbelievable the amount of people that you just bump into that.
You're the Appalachian Podcast.
Yeah,
I'm like,
have listened to it,
shit.
whatever. I mean,
Busted. I can't get away from it.
well, I told y'all the story
Another can
about
you.
in the store
Another
where
can you. Another can
it's
you.
like, dude, I know that voice.
Know it from somewhere. Uh-oh.
And
Admittedly so, and unfortunately, we really haven't had the opportunity to be able to set up in these downtown events and festivals and stuff.
We
to
will.
get out there to the community like we would like. Honestly, that's
they don't
why
want us to come out there and say, they want to come up here.
That's why. Well, no. Just for everybody else. That's why I beg people: look, share the show, send the link, share it in text messages and groups and friends and stuff. If you like a show, let them hear it. That's the word of mouth is the absolute best way. And if you're listening, whatever app you're listening on, go give us 5 stars and say anything you want. Say I love Simon's voice, or say Rome is the greatest. Just give us 5 stars and say something that helps us move up in the algorithms. But we haven't, and I want to get out to the festivals a little bit more, but life has been so crazy since I started it, right around the time I finally get to the point to where I think, all right, now we have the time and the effort and the ability to get out to more of these festivals. Oh yeah, I'm pregnant with number 3.
Whose fault was that?
Well, Simon's, I'm sure. 'Cause
There we go.
he probably had me up here drinking and acting crazy. That's
Oh,
how
there-
number 2
there it
got
is.
here.
There it is.
His 4th of July party.
At least it ain't my fault this time.
I'm wearing this one. Clearly.
So right when that gets to the point, we went to Students for Liberty and we're like, all right, now we're hot. Now we're moving about. We start going to the town council meetings
We weren't hot. We were
and
way
wearing the
outside our
stuff
element.
and stuff. And then all of a sudden life kicks us in the nuts again. So it's been a crazy, wild summer, and
Hell of a ride.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
And I think honestly, if things could have been different, we'd be in a whole different spot right now. But I'm glad
we'd still be here.
Well, I'm just saying, kind of holding off and waiting for this moment for the cameras to get some of these bigger guests up here and to really start making a difference. We have made a difference, and we've made as much of a difference as we can to this point in time. Now it's time to take that next step.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
It's time to take that next step.
The precipice is here.
Fun.
Let's jump.
I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to cut the show right there and let these boys go take a leak. And we're going to come back with probably a 25-minute Patreon episode for our subscribers. And I'll let you know right now, patreon.com/getontap. Get in now and get grandfathered in, because on this Patreon, Chip and I and Simon and Amos to a lesser degree, we're going to start name dropping some of the big accounts, some of the big names, some of the big people that we're going to start getting on some of these shows, and we have an opportunity to get here. So if you want to come be a part of those, come up here and be in the audience. The subscribers are going to have the chance to do that. So patreon.com/getontap for just $10 a day. Tiers are coming. It's going to be 5 to 10 here soon. Inflation's killing us, but we need you there. So thank you very much for everybody that listens. Chip, where can he find you at one more time?
On X, we are Being Libertarian. On IG, Being a Libertarian. Then on Facebook, Being Libertarian Media, and then all the Being Libertarians across the...
the UK. And also at Being Appalachian on X. And that we're getting ready to make an account on Instagram and I'm gonna move over a Facebook page and change it. It's been Appalachian Flavored Liberty, and I kind of want to do some things. I got it up to about 900 followers. We're going to switch it to the Being Appalachian thing, and once our video takes off, Chip and I'll start working on that monthly with Spike. And so and Simon, thank you very much for the new and improved Big Lick Roofing Studios.
Oh, it's a job in progress.
Look at those hats.
Look at them. Yeah, baby.
Good.
And I was hoping that Dakota actually would be able to come up here tonight. We'll kind of talk about how that all progressed in the last 24 hours on the after show with Amos and him calling me and the conversations we had. So once again, patreon.com/getontap.
I've been uncomfortable.
There we go.
We'll talk about why.
No.
And also for us, like I said, I Get On Tap on X, that Being Appalachian, me and Chip's side deal. And then the Appalachian Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, both plus 10,000 now. You're getting memes on one. You're getting Appalachian related stuff on the other. X, you're getting a conversation. I'm getting ready to add Simon, Amos, and Chip to the Appalachian Podcast page. So there'll be some more interactions going on there. So stick around, go subscribe, Patreon right now to find the after show. Subscribers, we'll see you here in 1 minute.
Record on, and much to my own surprise, I realized I hadn't been this drunk for so long. Spent all my money chasing some good-looking honey down in a honky-tonk. I thought she was a queen of hearts, but she turned into a joker that didn't hang around too long. So, oh Lord, if you're up there smiling down on me, I don't ask for much, I only take just what I need. So give me weed, give me whiskey, and play a Hank Jr. song. Try to steer you wrong, so sure that he'd understand if tonight tone. They taught me that's a good book, it holds all the answers in life that I'd ever need to know. Whiskey been and hellbound, this show hit me right. It rocks me right down to my soul.